Hi everyone, a literal zebra here with Rhyme Signatures, the nerdiest music review this side of never really remembering if I'm white with black stripes or black with white stripes. And today we are going to be doing a review of the new Marbin album, Dirty Horse. Oh, instrumental albums, my old nemesis. You rear your head and strike once more out against me. Okay, for those not in the know, I have previously iterated in my review for Earthless's album Night Parade of 100 Demons earlier this year that I do often find purely instrumental music kinda difficult to talk about. I often find that the lack of the human voice tends to stick out at me as something fundamentally missing, something I find crucial to my overall enjoyment of a song and or album. Now, that isn't to say I dislike instrumental music, far from it. I just find a fully instrumental album can sometimes be a little bit difficult for me to fully engage with and appreciate in the way that perhaps it deserves to be. So, why am I here again at this impasse of actively taking time out of my busy life and hectic schedule to review another instrumental album, given the difficulties that I have had with doing so around 6 months ago? Well, I'll tell you why. Because Marbin's Dirty Horse is absolutely sodding marvellous, and I'll be damned if my own inability to put pen to paper about instrumental music is going to stop me from the stream of consciousness that's about to emerge from my mouth. Marbin are a band of which I had literally zero prior knowledge of before listening to this album. So of course I had to do a little bit of prerequisite digging in my endless hunt to make it sound like I have the foggiest idea that I know what I'm talking about. The band was founded by two musicians from Israel, Danny Markovich and Danny Rabin. Or was it Rabin? Rabin, whatever. Marbin! Look, see, it's a portmanteau of their surnames. It's very clever. We like that. But they've dipped their feet in some of the swankiest jazz venues across America during their time, so, they've done the biz. And I'm honestly pretty stunned that artists of this caliber aren't better known in the wider musical community. I mean, I could be being extraordinarily ignorant here, as jazz is only really a peripheral to my usual wheelhouse, and saying that I didn't really know Marbin could be tantamount to career suicide within particular circles. But I digress. I have fallen head over heels for this band with Dirty Horse, and I want to start telling you why this album is great and why you should stop everything and listen to it right now. I suppose the nearest equivalent I could parallel this record to within my usual musical funhouse would be jazz fusion prog rock darlings Thank You Scientist. They give off a similar level of artistic show tune bravado, sans the vocals of course. Opening track, the Freeman Massacre and Dirty Horse Part 1 and Part 2 most assuredly tread very familiar territory in that regards, with their frenetic and engaging playing from every musician involved. Soaring saxophone, passionate drumming, and eclectic guitar work is certainly the main order of business here, and definitely sets me on a very comfortable and kind of familiar route. It is, however, mostly with the onset of fourth track Sid Yiddish Part 1, though, that I find the album really comes alive and starts, singing its own tune. Saxophone is absolutely king here, giving me throwbacks to the extraordinary piano solo from Ex-Japan's Art of Life, as Markovich takes front and centre about halfway through-ish the song, and delivers what can only really be described as the most furious and inspired musicianship I've heard in, a very long time. He makes sounds with his saxophone I didn't even realise you could make with the instrument. It's such an unusual experience on a first listen, and much like the previously mentioned Art of Life's piano solo, it might take you a couple of listens before you even realise what the hell is going on, and if this is even something you're actually enjoying or not. Plot twist, I do enjoy it, but, It's an intense, spotlight shining moment, and really does put Markovich right up there with saxophone heavyweights like Kamasi Washington for me, in terms of sheer talent and compositional ability. It's an incredible, unforgettable moment on a record just absolutely jam-packed with them. Sid Yiddish Part 2 continues the creative spark with some brief but attention-grabbing vocal sounds, before Marbin carries on the war of instrumentation that I so often associate with the genre. Drummer Everett Benton Jr. and bassist John Nadel continue to impress here, both forming a remarkable backbone to Rabin's guitar and Markovich's sax. but simultaneously been given plenty of opportunities to shine on their own merits as lead instrumentation. Jazz has always felt to me like a cacophony of fighting for top billing amongst a cadre of talented musicians, and this does hold true here, but mercifully everyone in Marbin is very respectful of each other's contributions, and everyone gets equal footing in the spotlight. There are moments on Dirty Horse where each instrument is the unquestionable star of the show, before everything piles back on top of each other to make the most organised chaos you've ever heard. It's an exciting album. It's relentless in its pace and delivery. Well, that is until we get to the midway point of the record with World of Computers Parts 1 and 2, where the record takes a breather, and it segues into the delightful tonal shift. The guitars give you this vibe of, lazing in a hammock on a beautiful sandy beach somewhere, where all the drinks have umbrellas in them and are served in coconuts from a small tiki bar. It's a delightfully chill section of the album, and a necessary breather after the, frankly, relentless energy and chaos that we've been treated up to until this point. The guitar tone is warm, it's lush and friendly, the bass is chilled out and gentle, the drums delicate and playful, and the sax has never sounded this soulful before. It's a fantastic couple of songs and serves as a really great way to get your heart rate down before we jump back into fifth gear for the assault on the senses that is Headless Chicken. Now this track is where it feels like Marbin have really cut their brake lines and, they're kind of hurtling down the mountainside to hell with the consequences. This is easily the most metal-adjacent song on the album, so of course, I absolutely love it, It is chock full of meaty hooks, aggressive riffing, and really full-on intensity, but it's also incredibly catchy and accessible in the same breath. It's doing that thing, that Thank You Scientist did, and it's making this whole jazz fusion music more available to the average rock and roller. This is still a very complex arrangement, though, with more nuance to it across its 8 minutes and 39 seconds runtime than some bands have in their entire discography. But I also do find it kind of easily accessible and straightforward, and it's fine to appreciate, really, just from the get-go. But whilst I really do love this song, it is the two-hit combo of Midnight Squirrel and Radio School that really cap this album off for me. Midnight Squirrel, for example, it appeals to my bass-playing side hustle with a delightful, sexy, thick groove leading us into the song before Rabin's guitar comes in over the top with this great 1970s-esque tone. And that motif continues as the music gets a little bit porn star in places, only cemented further by the raunchiest sounding saxophone so far on the album. This song honestly is cool. It exudes that kind of retro-style funk of a bygone Motown era, and I absolutely love it. And this is the longest song on the album, at 11 minutes and 22 seconds, but in a lot of ways it really does feel like the shortest. It's just such an adventurous and creative ride from start to finish, with so many moments for every musician to really demonstrate their respective chops. And it is hands down my favourite song on the album compositionally and artistically. The runtime, it just flies by, each moment-to-moment section of the song standing as tall and creative as the last. Oh, but we're not done yet. Oh, no. We have one last rodeo before we close out, and that is with the fantastic Radio School. So if Midnight Squirrel was my favourite song from an artistic point of view, then Radio School is most assuredly my favourite just from a pure fun factor. The mood of this song is kind of easy for me to describe with just, 2 words, and that would be loony and tunes. You remember how the old Bugs Bunny cartoons would be driven by classical music and full orchestra soundtracks, all to the imagery of Elmer Fudd getting the absolute snot kicked out of him? Yeah, that's the vibe check I'm feeling on this song. It's goofy, it's silly, it's embracing this energy, and it is clearly loving it. It's a toe-tapping, music hall danceable number, and it's incredibly hard to sit still throughout its duration. As far as album closers go, This one is definitely up there amongst the best of the bunch, and it serves as a really high-energy, exciting reward for making it to the end of a 74-minute long album of instrumental jazz fusion. So, what else can I say about Marbin's Dirty Horse? I mentioned at the start of this video that I find instrumental music hard to talk about, but it's clear and obvious now at this point in the video that I'm a filthy, disgusting liar. I suppose I should elaborate. I find average to good instrumental music hard to talk about, but exceptional instrumental stuff, apparently, that's not that hard at all. My biggest problem, though, with music that lacks vocals is that I often find that a particular storytelling element, the poetry and expression of the human condition, to be missing. This is most assuredly not the case with Dirty Horse. There is so much that every instrument is trying to say to you on this album, and it's extraordinary how quickly the 74-minute runtime passes by. I do say, time really does fly when you're having fun, and Dirty Horse is about the most fun I've had in weeks. If you like Thank You Scientists, but want them a bit more jazz than metal, then cue this one up and indulge in some of the most exciting sounds you're going to hear all year. This, guys, is all, of course, my opinion, as you know, so tell me what you thought of this record in the comments down there. If you've listened to anything else this year that you think's maybe slipped under my radar, that I might enjoy, that I want me to check out, let me know about it, guys. The year is coming to a close soon, but I might get around to giving it my own thoughts still. If you did like this video, please do share it with anyone who you think might enjoy it. Please do consider subscribing for more content, and please do consider clicking my Ko-fi link down below as well. Until next time, guys, keep your rhyme signatures odd,